can't tell if the chemistry's good by looking at it. It wasn't clear yesterday. For the last time, the saltwater pool is a chlorine pool.
This is the Talking Pools podcast with pool pros from every region in the country. If it happens in a pool, you'll hear about it here. Everything from tips and hacks to the latest tricks and trends. Breaking news, we lay it on the line. We tell it like it is because we think you deserve to know.
Before we get into today's episode, I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible companies supporting my Tennessee Triple Crown Open Water Swim Challenge, benefiting every child a swimmer. First, I'd like to thank RevDip Apparel, the official apparel sponsor of the campaign, and H2 Flow Controls. Thank you both for believing in the mission and helping making this possible. This week, I'd also like to give a very special shout out to two more amazing sponsors who have joined the journey. Thank you to Talking Pools Podcast for supporting not only this fundraiser, but for also providing an incredible platform to share the mission with the aquatics industry. Your support and encouragement mean more than you know, and I'm truly grateful to be a part of the Talking Pools family. I'd also like to thank 10Jam for coming on board as a sponsor. Your commitment to supporting water safety and helping every child a swimmer provide life-saving swim lessons is greatly appreciated. Thank you for believing in this cause and for being a part of this journey. I also want to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone who has already visited the public donation page, made a contribution, and left such kind and encouraging messages. It's truly meant the world to me, and I sincerely appreciate every one of you. Your support and encouragement continue to motivate me as I prepare for these swims. As many of you know, I'll be swimming more than 21 miles across 3 open water swim marathons to raise money for every child a swimmer through my fundraiser, She Swims So They Can. Donations will be accepted through October 3rd following my final marathon. And for those asking, my swims are September 13th, September 20th, and October 3rd. And if your company would like to become a sponsor, or if you have any questions about the campaign, you can reach out to me directly at nhood@thegritgame.com. You can also visit my Facebook or Instagram pages to learn more about the fundraiser, make a donation, or purchase the official fundraising apparel. And if sponsoring or donating isn't possible, sharing the fundraiser is just as meaningful. Every dollar helps. Every share makes a difference. And together, we can help ensure more children have the opportunity to learn this life-saving skill. Now let's jump into today's episode. Welcome back to the Talking Pools podcast, your go-to source for everything wet, wild, and wonderfully misunderstood in the pool world. I'm Natalie Hood, Director of Education and Events for The Grit Game, and today we're tackling one of the fastest growing trends in aquatics, commercial cold water venues. Whether you call them cold plunges, ice baths, or cold water immersion systems, they're showing up everywhere, from fitness centers, wellness clinics, to recovery facilities and luxury spas. And with that rapid growth comes questions, and my favorite, myths and misinformation. So to help us separate fact from fiction, I'm joined by Dewey Case, Technical Director for the Council for the Model Aquatic Health Code. Dewey played a key role in developing the new CMAHC cold water venue guidance, a document designed to help public officials, designers, builders, operators, and inspectors better understand the unique challenges of these facilities. So today, we're going to be putting some of the biggest myths surrounding commercial cold water venues to the test and discussing what the guidance actually says. So Dewey, welcome back to the Talking Pools podcast.
You know what time it is? Wednesday vibes on the Talking Pools podcast! 1, 2, 3, 4. Sun up, tools out, route rolling fine, but I'm tuning in, yeah, Natalie's on the line. Guess at the ready, stories that shine, from filters to heaters, they tell it in time. Hey, Wednesday, Natalie lead the way, Talking Pools podcast make the week feel irate. Hey, Wednesday, knowledge start to play, Natalie and the crew keep the blue water happy. Stem talk, pump talk, tricks of the trade. Field hacks, flashbacks, our legends are made. Laughs in the mix with the facts she lays. Every single segment got that reggae sway. Hey, Wednesday, Natalie lead the way. Talking pools, protests make the week feel irate. Hey, Wednesday, knowledge start to play. Natalie and the crew keep the blue water happy. Who run the midweek? Natalie. Who bring the deep speak? Natalie. Clear up the green streak? Natalie. Talking pools, turn it up, reality. So roll that rope and ride the tune. Wednesday waves be coming soon. Natalie, take the mic, boom. Talking pools, we're in the groove zone. Hey, Wednesday, Natalie lead the way. Talking pools, just make the week feel irate. Hey, Wednesday, knowledge start to play. Natalie and the crew keep the blue water happy. Hey, Wednesday, Natalie lead the way. Talking pools, just make the week feel irate. Hey, Wednesday, knowledge start to play. Natalie and the crew keep the blue water happy.
The future of our industry is shaped by those willing to invest in it. The following companies have stepped forward to support education, leadership, and mentorship across the swimming pool industry. These are the sponsors of the 2026 Talking Pools Podcast Mentor Award. Title sponsor, Blu-ray, XL. Title sponsor, United Chemical. Gold sponsor, Lamont Chemical. Silver sponsor, Revved Up Apparel. Supporting sponsor, Aqua Comfort Water Group. Thank you for helping us recognize and celebrate the mentors who continue to shape the future of the swimming pool industry, and God bless the Pool Pro.
Hey Pool Pros, tired of roasting under the sun and gear that doesn't hold up? Revved Up Apparel has your back with SPF protected apparel made for the Pool Pro. Want to stand out from the competition? Done. No minimum orders, no inventory stress. We handle the design, posting, printing, and fulfillment, so you can focus on the grind. Whether you're a single pooler or managing a whole fleet, we handle the design, posting, printing, and fulfillment, so you can focus on the grind. Whether you're a single pooler or managing a whole fleet, this is how you gear up smart and stay sharp. Check out revvedupapparel.com. Built for the...
Hey Pool Pro, what if your pool pump knew the perfect speed to run? Meet Nautis VSF, the first adaptive flow pump with EcoFlow technology. It adjusts to real-time conditions to maintain constant flow, cut energy costs, and extend equipment life. No guesswork, just a smarter pool with Nautis VSF from H2 Flow.
Dewey, welcome back to the Talking Pools podcast.
Great. Thank you, Natalie. It's glad to be here with you today. You know, I do have to say one thing, right? The only thing I did for the cold water venue guidance document is I got the right people in the room. So
Yeah.
certainly appreciate the accolades there. When it comes to the big picture, right? It's our ad hoc committee, our volunteers.
Yeah.
They're the ones that did the heavy lift. Only thing I did is I knew how to find the best minds, put them in the room, and let them go.
Well, I'll say, just looking through the guidance, I could tell that there was a tremendous amount of thought, collaboration, and expertise that went into developing a document like this. And it's truly an incredible resource for our industry.
Yeah, thank you. It was definitely a work of love by those involved. And, we're just so proud to have the volunteers that we do lend their expertise into this thing. And I want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Cheshire, who's a program manager for the state of Utah, pool program manager. She really just kind of led this charge. She was the chair for the committee. Utah was the first jurisdiction to come out with definitive, cold water venue guidance. So she led that charge, and she just did a yeoman's job leading that committee, tying the threads and putting it together. So big shout out to Sarah.
Well, I will have to give her a big shout out as well, because again, this resource is incredible, and I took some time to read through it, and there's just so much great information in here. I certainly appreciate it. And this was released when was it released officially?
Ooh, earlier this month,
Yeah.
I want to say around July 12th.
Okay. Okay.
Somewhere there.
So it's been out for a couple weeks now, almost 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's an incredible resource. So if you have not checked it out, definitely check it out. Read through it. Make sure you're catching up and you have a good understanding, especially those that are out there in the service. And definitely for as commercial cold water venues, they're really continuing to grow in popularity. And I think, as things start to grow, there's a lot more misconceptions and definitely surrounding their design, their operation, definitely water quality and overall safety. So I definitely think it's well overdue we bust some of these myths as this new guidance has come out. And so who better to do this with than you, Mr. Dewey Case? So thank you for being here with us again. I actually, what's interesting? I have to take it back. You were my first interviewee on my podcast.
Oh, way back when, it seems. Yeah, I was.
Yeah. You were my first. Yeah. When Rudy called me up and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be a host on the Talking Pools podcast?" I was like, "I've never done podcasting before, Rudy, but yeah, sure, sounds like fun. Let's do it." You were the first. You were my first guest. I remember I called you up, and I think it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday, and you were like, "Yeah, let's record this Friday," and I was like, "Oh, okay." But that's just who you are. You're just so awesome. Anyone can call you, and you're like, "Let's do it. I'm here for you." So.
Well, a lot of it is we got to move fast and strike while the iron's hot too.
That's true.
So in addition to my role with CMAHC, I'm the Aquatics coordinator for Williamson County, Tennessee Parks and Rec. So it's been a hectic summer with 9 bodies of water, 240 staff. So yeah, sometimes it's more of let's strike while the iron's hot. Let's get it on the books before that time slot goes away. So yeah.
I hear you. Well, I appreciate you coming back very much and making some time for me because I know you're busy. And this year has not slowed down. I cannot believe. So this episode's going to air in August, but where has the year gone?
Natalie, I don't know. One thing that's been consistent with every one of my peers I've talked to in the industry is that this year, and nobody can put a finger on it, but it's something about this year. It started in January. It hasn't been bad for anity.
No.
It's just been hectic. And I'm hearing that over and over again.
Yeah. It just completely flew by. It was just, it feels like it was just March, but now it's already almost August. And it's crazy. And I keep telling myself, I'm like, okay, well, in 6 weeks time, I'll be in the water in my first race, and before I know it, it'll be my second and my third, and all of a sudden it's going to be cold outside. So this year is just flying by.
Yes,
crazy. It is. So almost goodbye 2026, hello 2027. But before that, let's bust some cold water myths, if you will.
Yeah, let's do what Tone Loke would say.
Yes. And let's start with a pretty, I would say, a big one, and it's that cold water kills bacteria. And, I think a lot of people tend to assume that because the water is so cold, that bacteria and other pathogens simply can't survive, or that, they're somehow less of a concern than they are in a traditional pool or spa.
Yeah. Well, it's real interesting in that we make these wonderful assumptions, right?
Right.
So there's a lake underneath Antarctica, right? It's a freshwater lake. And in Antarctica, I want to just kind of rephrase it, right? This isn't Honolulu. When researchers drilled through the lake and penetrated it, they found microbes, they found bacteria. Mm-hmm. So bacteria are hardy little buggers that can survive all sorts of climates and temperatures, and, cold water venues, not immune from that, right? Mm-hmm. And we're also not talking about freezing water, right? If we were talking about freezing the water and taking it to, 0 degrees Celsius or into the negatives Fahrenheit, then maybe we could have a conversation about bacteria death and bacteria destruction for those cold temperatures. But we're not taking them that cold.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's very much bacteria is present in these things.
Right. Right. Well, and cold water, it doesn't sanitize itself.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
No.
And I think again, people tend to think, oh, well, the water's colder, so there's not going to be those little buggers aren't going to be there. But as you just stated, they're still there.
The only benefit we get from a bacteriological standpoint is that water is a metabolism, right? And we can look at it like a metabolism. When you have a spa and you have hot water, you have a very fast metabolism. When you have cold water, you have a slow metabolism. So you may not necessarily see the growth that you would in a spa due to that slow metabolism. But yeah, if you leave this thing long enough, it's going to get bacteria. It's going to get funk. It's going to develop biofilm. It's going to develop pseudomonas.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know there's in the fitness world, I know a lot of people tend to have these throw up cold plunge tubs that they have in their garages. And, some people, they go out to, Rural King, and they can buy those makeshift large bins, and they'll just put them in their garage or out in the back, and they'll put the hose out there, and they'll just put pounds and pounds of ice, and they'll just jump in that, and they'll just leave the water out there, and they'll just keep adding ice. And I'm like, you have to check on the water. You can't just keep getting in it.
No, you can't.
So definitely. Yeah. It's, I mean, cold water, it doesn't eliminate bacteria. If anything, it makes proper water treatment even more important.
Yeah, 100%. I think we'll talk about it a little bit later, but
yeah,
that's the big thing is almost with cold water, you have to be a little bit more diligent.
Yes.
Because, we talked about water being, the metabolism of the water, so to speak, right? So just as bacteriological growth may slow down, we see the same impact on sanitizers and disinfectants, where the sanitizing ability slows down when the water temp gets slower and lower and lower and lower.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's scary.
Yeah.
Definitely scary.
Yeah.
So here's another one, and definitely goes back to, I think, those people that have these, in their garage or outside, and it's, if only one person is in the tub, the water quality isn't a concern. And I hear this actually quite a bit, because I think, again, people assume that, many of these systems are designed for a single user, because contamination, it's not much of an issue.
Yeah. We're going to bust that when that's false, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at a residential unit at home that's not being shared, right? It's not that we're not concerned about water quality. It's not that we're not concerned about, pathogens. We're not concerned about an outbreak.
Right.
Because that one person, same thing with spas, right? If they don't take care of it and they don't maintain it, and they let biofilm grow in, and they let pseudomonas latch in, right? And they get these other diseases and pathogens and things that float around, literally in the water. It's going to impact them, not anybody else.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that these things aren't a concern from a pathogen standpoint.
Right. Well, and I mean, you have to think too, you're sweating, your body oils, your cosmetics, right? I mean, the days that I'm doing heavy, a lot of miles, am I going to be putting on as much makeup? Probably not. Let's be honest, no makeup at all. I don't have time for that. But on the days maybe where I have a lighter swim and I have a lot of on-camera time, yeah, I'm going to probably have some makeup on, some hairspray in my hair. But if I get in that cold plunge, all of that's going to come out. And if I'm not,
Yeah, exactly. And we don't realize that burden that puts on the water, right? So, let's just kind of stay in the home theme for now. If you have someone that they have a cold plunge at their house, right, and it's a single use and it's, maybe it's moderately taken care of, or they just fill it with water and keep chunking ice in it, right? Well, they're not showering before they get in this thing. So they're going out, they're doing CrossFit, right? They're doing HIIT training. They're doing heavy lifts, right? Maybe they're prepping for a triathlon. right? And they've swam at a pool, then they did a bike ride, now they've done their run, and they come home and they hop right into the cold plunge, right? Well, that's putting in sweat, that's putting in urea, right? All of those things go in and it creates this contamination burden, even on the cold water.
Yeah.
So, we got to account for all of those factors when we look at these.
Well, and I can tell you right now from a previous episode I did with Jared on, showering before entering a pool, commercial and residential. I can tell you right now, those people are not showering before they're
No.
getting into those cold plunges. They're just getting in completely sweaty, clothes on. They're getting right in. I mean, you see on social media, you see all of these fitness influencers. They're working out, they're doing the thing, and then it shows them getting in, sports bra shorts or just shorts on. They're not showering off before. They're just getting right in. So yeah, all of that's going to continuously accumulate. And, a single user doesn't mean contamination free, guys. Come on now.
No. The only upside really from a disease outbreak from a contamination burden standpoint is, and people not showering, is you're generally not submerging your head.
Yeah.
So you're generally not going to get the water in your mouth. So you don't have to worry about, fecal matter, right? You don't have to worry about those pathogens, Giardia, E. coli, crypto, cyclospora, right? To a certain degree, right? You don't have to worry about those being ingested because you're not submerged.
Right.
But the other thing too is we look at these things and people think, oh, it's cold water. There's no bacteria. There's no pathogen. It's just mine. Right. So they go on their run, right? They do their century ride on their bike and they come in, they hop sweaty, right? Maybe they've had diarrhea, in a gas station bathroom on their century ride, right? And they hop right in wearing their bike shorts. Well, now all of a sudden you've introduced fecal matter, likely some sort of gastro issue, right? It's likely some sort of enteric bug into your own cold plunge.
Yeah.
And now your kid gets in, right? Because Lord knows all children obey all the rules, right?
Oh,
so
yeah,
your
of course.
kid gets in, they drink some water. Well, now your kid goes in this poorly disinfected, poorly maintained cold plunge because it's ice water. It's not going to carry germs. And they go to the local splash pad. And next thing you know, they've let a little bit of poop out that didn't get caught. And now you've just infected, 1,000 kids at a splash pad with crypto.
Yep. Well, and I'll tell you this too. Actually, I have a lot of friends that do the cold plunges and they do have them at their house. And 90% of them do dunk their head after they do their 4 or 5 minutes.
Ooh, yeah. I would not recommend doing that.
Yeah. They
So let's take crypto. Let's take all the enteric stuff out. Let's take the big bad bugs out. Let's go back and let's take away the enteric diseases, take away all those fun little nasty bugs we see, and let's just stick with the most common illness caused by pools in the United States. Swimmer's ear.
Mm-hmm.
Swimmer's ear. We know that from a study that came out several years ago that the rate of swimming pool-related swimming ear issues, swimmer's ear and ear infections, is not insignificant, right? And it's caused by pseudomonas, which they're going to line that piping, they're going to line those surfaces in this poorly maintained cold water venue, cold plunge, and you're going to stick your head in. And the little pseudomonas are going to make their way into your ear because it's submerged. And next thing you know, you've got a hellacious earache, right? Swimmer's ear a week and a half later.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know someone that she went to a facility just to kind of get away. And she had told me, she said, oh yeah, in the afternoons, we all did cold plunges. It was like a fitness getaway thing. There's a word for it and it's escaping me. Swimmer's brain's a thing, a retreat. There you go. And, it was like a couples retreat. And at the end of it, in the afternoons before they had dinner, they all went out and they did a cold plunge. None of them were showering. And I was like, okay. And the goal was to be in there. I think it was for 5 minutes. Right. And at the end, they all dunked their head. And They were not cleaning the container. They filled it up with hose water, and then they would put, buckets and buckets of ice in it. And then I asked her, because when she finished the retreat, I think it was like a 4 or 5 day retreat. And at the end, she had told me, she goes, we had a really nice time, but we both, my husband and I got really sick at the end. And I said, well, okay, well, started asking her questions. And I said, well, did you both do the cold plunge? She goes, yeah, we did it every single day. And I said, well, tell me a little bit more about it. But there were just, lines and lines of people going in these cold plunges. None of them were showering. And at the end of it, she said all they did was drain it. I don't think she said she saw them ever cleaning out the tub.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, that thing was nasty as all get out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, they had all worked out before they had gone in this cold plunge. And then the other thing too, she said, oh yeah, they went and hung out in the sauna. Some people went in the sauna and then the cold plunge. And I was like, okay, so where did you go so I know not to ever go?
Yep.
I mean, it's scary, the myths out there. I mean, I'm glad she had a great time, but now she knows.
Yeah.
She found
You know,
out.
the other thing too for people listening, especially, if you're a pool pro, you're hearing a lot of the horror stories in order to improve and be better and have safer waters and healthier waters. But there's going to be some folks that they're not in the pool industry. They just listen because they're adjacent, right? They're a competitive swimmer, right? They're a triathlete. They have a residential pool, a home pool, right? And the big thing is we're saying these kind of horror stories, and it can be scary, like a spa, right?
Yes.
It can be really scary, and we can come up with some really, really bad stories. But there's a huge but, right? But if you maintain the system, if you do proper maintenance, proper cleaning, right, and you have good practices, then likely, right, there's a high chance that you won't get sick. There's a high chance that it would be healthy. And that's kind of where this guidance comes from, right? That CMAHC release, because there was nothing that existed before this.
There was nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful this resource is out there, because with this new fad, people just don't know, and again, they just follow. So you need to be educated. Well, switching, from residential, let's kind of switch gears to commercial. And some think that a commercial cold plunge is basically just a fancy bathtub. And, I think this is another misconception, because from the outside, they can look pretty simple. But, if you look at the guidance, it's obvious that they're clearly much different than a bathtub, right? Can you kind of, can you explain what really separates a commercial cold water venue from something you have at home?
Well, the big thing is the number of people, right? So same thing for a backyard pool. It's the bather load, right? So you have your cold plunge at your house, maybe you use it daily, maybe use it every other day, right? Maybe you only use it when, you're doing those big hit sessions. Well, the thing is with the commercial cold plunge, everybody's doing that every day. So it's just the sheer volume, right? So yeah, if you have one at home, can you fill it every day, throw a bunch of ice in, get in it, drain it, let it dry? And, what are the real odds of getting seriously ill? Fair to middling.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you submerge. But, with commercial cold plunges, commercial venues, you're sharing this with, if you have one person in for 10 minutes and it's a recirculated system, then that's 6 people an hour. You're open 12 hours a day. So we're up to 72 people a day, times 7 days a week, right? So we're up to 500 people using that one cold plunge in a week, right? And that's just a single user cold plunge.
Right.
You have a larger cold plunge like at an athletics facility, right? For, let's say the Alabama Crimson Tide, right? Or University of Tennessee, or the Atlanta Falcons. That's not a single use. That's 3, 4, 5 athletes getting in on a regular basis.
Right.
Right. So that's the big difference. It's the load.
Right.
And when you change the load, you've got to change your practices.
Right. And actually, I don't know of too many commercial facilities that have cold plunges.
No, not really. No, we see them more in your high-end athletic facilities.
Yeah, I would say specialized.
Yeah, we don't see them as much in your YMCA's, your Lifetime Fitnesses.
Hmm.
Uh, well, you might see them more in like your mom and pop, fitness centers, that's owned by the local, power lifter, something like that.
Right.
But yeah, you really don't see them that often right now in your run of the mill, kind of big name centers.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, I attend the local. We have here in Knoxville, which is huge. If you've never visited Knoxville, it's huge. I think there's five different five different local YMCA's. There's one that I attend, and I think two of them have tanning. I don't tan, but yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a cold plunge. But they do have, they have those special like hit gyms here, and then they have the outdoor CrossFit. I think they do have a cold plunge.
Yeah, you're more likely to see them there than you are, your average fitness center.
Yep, yep. Well, let's keep going. So
Sure.
another one is that you can manage a cold plunge just like a spa. And I guess I could understand why someone would think that. They're both relatively small bodies of water. But again, the guidance points out that operating a cold water venue presents its own unique challenges. So
Yeah.
let's talk about it. So what are some of the biggest differences operators should understand when they're managing cold plunge?
Well, the biggest difference is, again, we go back to that metabolism concept, right? When
Right.
you have a spa, the water metabolizes out your water chemistry like crazy, right? Uh, you know, it- I've ran spas before. I've managed spas before. It's not my favorite thing to do. They're, kind of a PETA, to me,
Yeah.
because the water chemistry is just so volatile, right? You throw the cold water, you're at the other end of the spectrum, the polar opposite. The water chemistry, because it's cold, is equally challenging because nothing dissolves that well, right?
Right.
So you have all the issues getting your balancing agents in, right? Getting that water quality where it should be per your LSI, et cetera, et cetera. And the other thing that we talked about earlier, right, is your disinfection. You know, the interesting thing is we don't have, at least none immediately available, right? We don't have tons of disinfection data on very cold water.
Right.
So we don't really know how effective chlorine is at the end of the day at those water temperatures, right? We have some proxies that can kind of tell us, right? We know that it slows down, right? But at what rate is still needing research.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it just as challenging as a spa,
Right.
because you might have what you think is adequate chlorine, right? But, if your pH creeps up 7.6, 7.7, for example, which is in the range, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're using
Right.
range chemistry or even just the public health values, right? 7.7 is still in range, right?
Right.
But the effect of that chlorine might be almost zero.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really interesting in that you have this pendulum swing from overworking, over metabolizing, burns out really quickly, to you can't really dissolve, you can't really sanitize, right? You have to do the extra work.
Right.
Um, so for me, just looking at the data and the design and the water chemistry aspect, right? I'm a Southerner, you're a Southerner, right? We're in sweet tea land.
Yes,
Right?
we are.
Every good Southerner knows you can't add sugar to cold tea. It won't
Right.
dissolve,
Correct.
right? It's got to be done when it's hot, right?
Right.
So just kind of looking at that, for me, I dare say that cold plunges are even more challenging than hot tubs.
I would have to agree with
Yeah.
that because the lower temperatures, I mean, it it makes it that much more difficult.
Yeah.
That much
Well,
more difficult.
the lower temperatures also gets into some challenging nuance, right?
Right.
So let's take, you know, maximum or the minimum water temp, right? What's the lowest you can go? Yes, absolutely plausible that they can use this without any significant, that's the key word, right? Significant health risk.
Right.
Tune in next week for the conclusion of this chilling conversation in the episode I wanted to title Shrinkage, but did not, out of respect for the 64th anniversary of the passing of Marilyn Monroe. Next week, next Wednesday, part 2 of this two-parter with Dewey Case of the CMAHC on cold plunge pools.
But anyone using it, right, can wind up in a situation where they need some assistance to get out or someone to intervene. And it may not even be the cold water.
I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you for listening today. I'm hoping you enjoyed the episode as much as we enjoyed putting it together for you. Listen, it's been a couple of wacky, crazy, screwed up years from pandemic to Poolmageddon. I just want you to know that we are all in this together. If there's anything that we can do for you, send me an email at talkingpools@gmail.com. Again, that's talkingpools@gmail.com. We're here. This is your podcast. We are the Pool People's podcast, of the Pool People, for the Pool People, by the Pool People's podcast. This one is about you. So thank you for tuning in and listening. Do me a favor, click subscribe before you go. That way you don't miss an episode.